Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another daily, semi-daily movie review. Today we're going to be talking about the recently released film Let Him Go. It hit theaters a couple weeks ago and then hit VOD like a few days ago. It's directed by Thomas Bezucha, written by Thomas Bezucha, based on a novel by Larry Watson of the same name. It stars Diane Lane, Kevin Costner, Leslie Manville, Kaylee Carter, Boo Boo Stewart, Jeffrey Donovan, Will Britton, Ryan Bruce, and others. The logline plot synopsis is: a retired sheriff and his wife, grieving over the death of their son, set out to find their only grandson. Yes. So this is kind of like a neo-noir western, modernist western. It takes place in the 1960s, but it takes kind of like some of like Western archetypes from some of that genre and kind of deconstructs them and recontextualizes them and kind of sets this husband and wife out on kind of a road trip a little bit, in kind of a descent into some sort of maybe darkness or danger. As much as it is kind of a thriller, like it's described as a crime thriller, I would not say that's totally accurate. I think it's more of a character piece that has surprisingly suspenseful moments. I was surprised at how suspenseful and how well a lot of this stuff works. I didn't really know anything about this movie going into it, so I was going in kind of blind. But I saw like I didn't even see the trailer. I saw like a snippet of the trailer. I think I might have seen it just on Facebook playing and with no sound while I was like doing something else. And I actually kind of like Kevin Costner and Diane Lane, so I was like, you know what? Why the hell not? Why not? I kind of thought it was going to be a little bit more of a thriller. Going into it, if I thought anything, because the way they have the poster and the way they at least cut some of this trailer that I saw, it made it seem much more like kinetic, much more thriller-esque. But what I found was pleasantly surprised. Was a very thoughtful meditation on loss, on letting go of people that have passed on in your life and what they meant to you, and second chances and finding yourself again amidst the madness. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a great character piece, a great showcase for Kevin Costner and Diane Lane. This is the best Kevin Costner's been in a long time. I have not enjoyed him in a movie as much as I did in this one. Like, he really goes into some great character work in this. And Diane Lane plays like this great kind of archetype, like kind of tough, but also like a great wife archetype of like a Western woman that I was really taken with. She's like very charming in the movie, but she's not like perfect. And the movie is awesome about kind of having these layers of the characters that they kind of love each other even in spite of themselves sometimes, even in spite of each other sometimes. It's about kind of, that's another thing about the movie, about kind of this acceptance, this accepting your reality, not in a negative way, but in a good way, until you're pushed too far. Because what happens is their son dies tragically, gets thrown from a horse, his neck breaks, dies immediately. His widow ends up remarrying somebody else in town, some other local dude. And they have a grandson as a result of her first marriage with their son. And they find out that he's kind of abusive to a certain degree. It's a small town, so they kind of see each other from a distance. And then as the story, and then they take off and they go back to where this guy is from to go back with his family, but they don't tell Kevin Costner and Diane Lane's characters. They just leave. And this is right after they find out that there might be some abuse, so they're very concerned. And the wife kind of just like, almost in like a fantastical way, is like, we're going to drop everything and we're driving to, I think, Wyoming. And we're going to go find these people. We're going to go find her grandson, and she wants to try to convince the mother to actually give her the grandson, and this is part of, some of the tension and the drama of what's going on. And then they get to where they're going, and then they meet this family, and it ends up escalating things, quite a big deal. You find out that this family kind of rules this town. Everybody's a little bit afraid of them, or there's a connectedness there, and they're kind of all led by Leslie Manville's character, Blanche Weeboy. Leslie Manville, if you don't know, longtime actress, British actress, mostly of stage, like that's really, and a lot of BBC productions, but she kind of came to prominence a few years ago. She was in Paul Thomas Anderson's The Phantom Thread as kind of like his assistant, of Woodcock's assistant there. And I believe she was nominated for an Academy Award. Great actress. She gives a very big performance in this movie, which I think is fine. It's almost slightly unmodulated to the rest of the movie. Everyone else is so naturalistic that she seems a little caricature-y, but I think it's a fun performance. It's a menacing performance. She really gets under your skin, and she does it like immediately. So even though it's I think maybe a little over the top, maybe a little broad, I think it's easy to forgive, honestly, just because of how good she is, like how much she's obviously having fun, relishing being this kind of evil, this evil bitch. And then the supporting cast, Jeffrey Donovan. If you don't know who Jeffrey Donovan is, he's just one of these solid fucking actors. He kind of like had a career as a TV dude for like a long time on Burn Notice, which is a show I never really watched or got into. But he's a great actor, going all the way back throughout the years. I'm trying to find what was one of the first things. One of the first things I ever saw him in was The Blair Witch 2: Book of Shadows, which is not a good movie. But yeah, he's been working for a long time. He's been working since the mid '90s. There's a movie in particular I'm trying to find that he's really great in. I don't know. He's too many things to actually like see. Sicario, he's great in both of the Sicario movies. He was in Fargo, the TV show. He's fantastic in that. He's just good in everything. Shot Caller, actually, he's pretty good in that. Yeah, I've always just really liked Jeffrey Donovan. He's got a great screen presence, and he plays a great heel in this movie. He's like, I think the eldest son, or maybe the brother, the uncle, something like that. I can't remember exactly what his relation was. I know he's part of the Wee Boys, but I'm not sure if he was a son or Leslie Manville's Blanche Wee Boy's brother. But he's great. He's fantastic. Another great performance. Another kind of very menacing, because he has this thing where he's like kind of trying to be a nice guy. It's like a fake nice guy thing, and you know that he's doing that, and the characters know that he's full of shit, and he knows that they know he's full of shit. And there's all these layers that are going on when you first meet him, and it makes it incredibly tense. There's some scenes in this movie, like there's when they go out to the Wee Boy farm out in the middle of fucking nowhere, and they go there for dinner, and there's a dinner table scene that is incredibly intense. Incredibly. As far as the direction and stuff goes, this is Thomas Bezucha. This is like his 4th or 5th movie. He hasn't done anything I've really paid much attention to. I remember The Family Stone that came out in like 2005, which is not a great movie. Then in 2011, he does a Selena Gomez movie called Monte Carlo, and then 9 years later, he does Let Him Go. And so I can't vouch for his other stuff, but he did some really solid work here. It's a beautiful looking movie too, because it has like take advantage of that Midwestern landscape. I spent some time up in like Montana and Wyoming. I used to work out in pipelines, and I got to go out in the middle of fucking nowhere, like where these kind of movies take place. I even driven on some of the roads they drive on in this movie, and it is just always beautiful landscapes, always something beautiful to look at. Rolling hills, mountain ranges. It's really incredible. It's a kind of this really and it has a sense of melancholy. I remember being there and feeling that. There was something about it where you just feel like you're on a different planet. And I think this movie really gets that across very well, and it kind of bleeds into the subtext of the movie. Like these people juxtaposed by these giant fucking landscapes all the time. Like, and it's just them versus the world, it feels like. And I really, really love that. And the director, though, as part of his strong direction, he just hits a perfect kind of earnest, almost corny, but never ever gets there, but earnest, melancholy tone. I mean, I was like misty-eyed like half the time. I mean, there's some scenes in this movie that are so like heartbreaking. There's these moments that are just so intense, like just emotionally intense. You know, and I've lost somebody, you know, like 10 years ago, I lost my father. And the way these people kind of react to losing their son while they're trying to move on with their life, they're trying to also be strong. But sometimes you can't just help but kind of be haunted by by the memory of a person, because it manifests in your life, like how much they meant to you and what effect they actually had on your life. And you can see that in these characters and some of the relationship dynamics. And I really, really loved that. I really responded to it. If you were on the fence, or if you had never heard of this movie before, I would definitely say, please go give it a try. Maybe, it'll probably be on Netflix or, Amazon Prime or Hulu or something within the next year. And if you happen to see it on there, like, please give it a chance. I think it's just like, it feels good sometimes just to watch a well-crafted, like, adult drama. I don't need bullets and ass and tits and fucking monsters and lasers. Like, sometimes it's just nice to sit there for 2 hours and watch a nice adult drama. And I think my soul needed it a little bit, It felt very cathartic watching the movie too. Especially just with all the family dynamics and stuff. Like, I really, really loved it. I really loved it. I think people will be very pleasantly surprised, because it's something that I think that's going to fly under the radar for a lot of people. Granted, like, I think it got exalted a little bit, kind of put up a little bit, because it was one of the few new theatrically released movies. So I think it got a little bit more play in the press, but still, it's going to disappear. It's going to disappear because it's just one of those kind of movies that it doesn't have that, like, splash, that wow factor thing, even though maybe it should be considered that way because of how strong the central performances are. Like, it's not going to get Academy Awards or anything, but Costner is really good in this. Like, he's really good. So if you're a Kevin Costner fan, definitely check it out. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to know more about Zoobox, a bunch of links in the description: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. If you'd like to hear my opinion about a movie in particular, leave it in the comments, and I will put it on the list. All right? So you have a great one. Have the best one. Goodbye.